Sure. It's Rachel Leishman from the Mary Sue. Hi, Martin. This movie, I really enjoyed The Protégé, and you are a master of action films and giving us some of the best storylines within action movies. So I wanted to know what about the action genre inspires you as a creative.
I've always liked it. The point is, I've always liked action films. I've always liked sort of action adventure stuff, right? Really good action adventure. So really, it's just something I've always liked. I enjoy watching them, the good ones, great thrillers, and action movies. Yeah, it's just personal preference, really.
Oh, and what I really like, especially about this movie, and to me, you made one of the best Bond movies out there because I think Casino Royale is incredible. But what I really like about this movie in particular is Maggie Q's character is that she's just, for lack of a better term, she's just a badass throughout the whole movie. And there's never like a question over her skill within the film itself. It's kind of, she gets brought on as this protege and that's it. And so when you were approaching a story like this, how much did you work with Maggie about creating that character and like the dynamic that she has throughout the film?
Yeah, the thing was, obviously she loved the part. She looks Vietnamese, which she is. She's half Vietnamese, I think, Maggie. And so we had to get someone like that. I saw her do something with Ethan Hawke. I had no idea of her action background. I'd never seen La Femme Nikita, and I had no clue she had an action background. So I just took her on really based on that clip I saw. She gave a very good performance. And just on a performance alone, I said, okay, we get Maggie Q. She's the only one I think that is right for this. The fact she could then do action and be very good was something that, to be honest, I learned after I actually cast her, So
Yeah.
That was a big surprise. Yeah. A good surprise, should I say.
Well, and this cast is incredible. I'm from Pittsburgh, so I love Michael Keaton, and I have throughout my whole life. So watching him kind of come back to action, because he goes back and forth between his whole career, was really exciting. And so when you're crafting a cast like this, especially with people like Samuel L. Jackson, him and Maggie Q, and everyone that you have involved, does that play an important part in the process of making sure you have the perfect actors for the role, or is it just luck that you
No, well, the point is that you just really choose the actor who you think is best for the role, regardless of their action credentials. Even if they can't do action or they're not great at it, there are ways around that. But what's more important is is their acting ability, and because they have to embrace those parts. And given that you've got Michael and Sam, who are two terrific actors, and of course you have Maggie, so we had three great actors. So at the end of the day, that's really what you need. And you sit down, you discuss it, you talk about it, you go through it. They have ideas and they've done their homework. They know what they think it should be, and we just go from that.
Yeah, and what I really like about your movies in particular is they are action movies that, like I said earlier, they have these arcs and these beautiful character journeys within them. Because I think a lot of the time in action movies, sometimes that stuff gets sidelined for a big explosion or whatever
Sure.
it is. And as a director, do you always kind of make that your intention of making sure these characters have these very real arcs throughout the action that you're telling?
Yeah, well, true. I mean, all action really should be character based. That's the point. You see so much where, you go and look at the latest Fast and Furious. The action is huge and expensive, but I don't believe a word of it. I mean, I didn't believe anything in that film. It's just so preposterous, the action, that in the first minute, they all would have been killed under normal circumstances. That sort of action that they do. And I find it boring. I just find I switch off it. I don't connect to it, no matter how well it's actually, you know, how well it's all digital. I mean, a huge amount of digital and so on and so forth. But the key is really the characters. You know, your action must be say something about the characters as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but like I scrolling through IMDb, like so much of the movies I grew up watching were movies that you directed, and like you are a staple for Bond with Goldeneye and Casino, or like The Mask of Zorro and even Green Lantern. And there are all these movies that we have like very distinct memories of. And so is that, as a creative, something that is overwhelming to know that there are like people my age who grew up watching all of these movies for like, oh yeah, he's a great director, these are all incredible, and then going to Protégé, it's the same kind of deal where I'm like, oh yeah, there's going to be kids down the line who watch this movie and are going to be like, yeah, that was a Martin Campbell movie, it ruled. So is that like, sorry, go ahead.
So what's the question?
Is that when you're creating something, is that like something on your radar, or is it
No.
something about it?
Each movie I do, I sort of get on with the next one, and there are enough problems always on movies to keep yourself occupied, and some, you know, to you know, everything from logistics to budget to schedule to, you know what I mean. So
yeah.
So I never think of, you know, you know.
And so I always kind of like to ask, as like a final question, with a movie like Protege, what do you hope audiences take away from it when they leave theaters?
I just want them to be entertained, basically, that, you know, they see hopefully a action adventure movie. You know, that's the idea, and characters that they can kind of whatever it may be. You know, that's really the object of it. You know, there's no messages in this film. You know, there's no messages in. Leave your brain at the door and have a good time.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I wasn't kidding. I grew up in the 90s, so I grew up watching all of your movies, and I just was scrolling through. I was like, oh yeah, I watched all these with my brother when I was a kid.
Oh, great.
But thank you so much. I can't wait for people to get to see Protege.
Terrific. Yeah. Thanks very much. Indeed. Bye.
Bye.